Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin, page 56a, top of the page, with the words B'chol Yom Danin es ha'edim b'chinui Yake Yossi et Yossi. On every day of the blasphemer's trial, when the judges judge the witnesses, meaning they interrogate witnesses, they ask the witnesses to use an appellation for the name of God so that they do not utter a curse of God's name. Specifically, the witness would say, "Let Yossi smite Yossi," as the name Yossi has 4 letters, as does the Tetragrammaton. Okay. Nigmar hadin lo hayu hargin b'chinui ela motzin kol adam lachutz shoalin et hakadosh b'nei ve'omer lo emor ma shemat b'ferush hu omer ve'dayanin amdim al ragleihem v'korin v'lo imachin. When the judgment is over and the court votes to deem the defendant guilty, they do not sentence him to death based on the testimony of witnesses in which they use an appellation for the name of God without ever having heard the exact wording of the curse. Rather, they remove all the people who are not required to be there from the court so that the curse is not heard publicly. And the judges interrogate the eldest of the witnesses and say to him, "Say what you heard explicitly." And he says exactly what he heard. And the judges stand on their feet, make a tear in their garments as an act of mourning for the desecration of the honor of God, and they do not ever fully stitch it back together again. V'hasheni omer af ani kamohu, v'hashlishi omer af ani kamohu. And the second witness says, "I too heard," as he did, but he does not repeat the curse explicitly. And the third witness, in the event that there is one, says, "I too heard," as he did. In this manner, the repetition of the invective sentence is limited to what is absolutely necessary. That's the Mishnah. Gemara, the Talmud says, Tana, Ad Shivarach Shem B'Shem. The sage taught in a Braita, a blasphemer is not liable until he blesses, it's euphemism for curses, the name of God with the name of God by saying, "Let such and such a name strike such and such a name." Mina hanimili Amar Shmuel Amar Kra Nokev Shem V'Nokev Shem V'Gomer V'Nakvo Shem Yumat. The Gemara asks, from where is this matter derived? Shmuel says, it is derived from that which the verse states, "And he who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him, the convert as well as the homeborn. When he blasphemes the name, he shall be put to death." Leviticus 24:16. It is derived from the repetition of the phrase "blasphemes the name" that the reference is to cursing the name of God with the name of God. Mai dahai nokev l'shanav devrochehu ketiv ma'ekov lokabo kel lokabo ve'iz izartem mehacha Elohim lo tikalel. The Gemara asks, from where is it derived that this word nokev is a term for cursing? Meaning cursing, for blessing, yeah. For blessing, meaning cursing. Okay. The Gemara answers that it is derived from the statement of Bilam, who was sent by Balak to curse the Jewish people. How can I curse a Ekov, whom God has not cursed? Numbers 23 verse 8. And the prohibition against cursing God is derived from here. You shall not curse God. Exodus 22:27. Ve'ema mivrazu Diktiv Vayikov Chor Bidalto Ve'azartem Yachav Ibatem Eshemam Lo Ta'asun Kin Hashem Elokechem. The Gemara asks, but say that perhaps the meaning of Nokev is not cursing, but rather making a hole, as it is written, and made a hole in its lid. 2 Kings 12:10. According to this, the word Nokev is referring to one who makes a hole and damages the written name of God. And the prohibition against doing so is derived from here. And you shall destroy their name out of that place. You shall not do so to the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 12:3 verse 3 and 4. Be'ena shem b'shem v'leka. The Gemara answers, it is derived from the repetition of Nokev that for one to be liable, it is necessary that his transgression involve the name of God with the name of God, and such a transgression is not possible if the reference is to making a hole. Ve'ema demanach shnei shemot hadadi ubazadahu ahu nokev v'chozer v'nokev v'hu ve'ema dechayik shema puma desakina v'zaba ahu churpa desakina hu dikabaza. The Gemara challenges, but say that such a transgression is possible as one can place two written names of God, one on top of the other, and tear through them at once. The Gemara explains that would be defined as making a hole, and again making a hole, not making a hole is in one name, by means of another name. The Gemara asks, but say that one can etch the name of God on the point of a knife and cut through another name with it. The Gemara answers, in that case, it is the point of the knife that is cutting, not the name of God. Ve'ema pirushish mehu dichti vayikol Moshe vayikach Moshe v'Aaron et hanashim ha'ele asher nikvu b'shemot v'hazartem mihacha et Hashem Elokecha tira. The Gemara says, say that the Nokev means the utterance of the ineffable name of God, as it is written, and Moses and Aaron took these men that are pointed out by name. Numbers 117, and the prohibition to do so is derived from here. You shall fear the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 6:13. Chad bin Hashem b'Shem b'leka v'od havile azara aseh azarat aseh v'azarat aseh lo shmi hazara. The Gemara answers, one answer is that for one to be liable, it is necessary that his transgression involve the name of God with the name of God, and such a transgression is not possible if the reference is to uttering the ineffable name of God. Furthermore, the prohibition derived from the verse, you shall fear the Lord your God, is a prohibition stated as a positive mitzvah, and a prohibition stated as a positive mitzvah is not considered a prohibition. The Gemara presents an alternative proof that Nokev is referring to cursing. And if you wish, say instead that the verse states, and the son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name and cursed. Leviticus 24:11. That is to say, that the meaning of Nokev is to curse. V'dilma ad avitarvayu lo slokadaitach dichtiv hotzi et ha-mekalel v'lo kotiv hotzi et ha-nokev v'ha-mekalel shma minach hadehi. The Gemara asks, but perhaps this verse does not prove that the meaning of Nokev is to curse. Rather, it indicates that it is that one is not liable to be executed unless he does both Nokev and cursing God. The Gemara answers, this shall not enter your mind, as it is written, bring forth the one who cursed, and stone him. Leviticus 24:14. And it is not written, bring forth the nokev and the one who cursed. Conclude from it, that is one act, not two. As one act, not two. Tanu Rabbanan. Tanu Rabbanan ish ma tamid loimer ish ish. The rabbi says hagoyim shemuzachana because Hashem ki Yisrael. Ve'inu ne'oram el b'sayif shekol misa hamua b'ivnei hanoyach eino elal b'sayif. The sages taught in Braita with regard to the verse, anyone who curses his God shall bear a sin. Leviticus 24:15. That the verse could have stated one who curses his God, being Ish. Why must the verse say anyone, Ish, Ish? It is to include the Gentiles who are prohibited from blessing, meaning cursing the name of God, just as Jews are. And they are executed for this transgression by the sword alone, as all death penalties stated with regard to the descendants of Noah are both by the sword alone. Agora asks, but is this halacha derived from here? Rather, it is derived from there, and the Lord commanded the man, Genesis 2:16, as it is stated in the Braita, that will soon be quoted at length. The Lord, this is referring to the blessing, the name of God, meaning euphemism, right? This verse concerns Adam, the first man, and is therefore binding on all of humanity. Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha says the verse anyone who curses his God is necessary only to include Gentiles who curse God using the appellations for the name of God rather than mentioning the ineffable name, and this is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir. The Tanya ish ki yikal elokav v'nosach hadzao ma talmud lo imar v'elo kvar nemar v'nokav shem Hashem os yumos lefish nemar v'nokav shem mos mas yachol lo yehei chayt ela al shem habiyuchad bilvad minay l'rabos is a kinuyin talmud lo imar ish ki yikal elokav mikol makom dever Meir. It is taught in Braita. Why must the verse state, anyone who curses his God shall bear a sin? But isn't it already stated, and he who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall be put to death? Leviticus 24:16. Rather, since it is stated, and he who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall be put to death, one might have thought that one will be liable only for cursing the ineffable name of God. From where is it derived that the verse includes one who curses any of the appellations as well? The verse states, anyone who curses God to indicate that one is liable to be executed in any case. This is the statement from Rabbi Meir. And the rabbis say, for cursing the ineffable name of God, one is punished by death, and for cursing the appellations, one is liable to receive lashes for violating a prohibition. Pliga de Rabbi Mayasha. Da'amar Mayasha ben Noach sheberech Hashem yichinu l'Rabban Chayev. Right, comments. And Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, who holds that according to the rabbis, Gentiles are not liable for cursing the appellation of God, disagrees with the opinion of Rabbi Mayasha. As Rabbi Mayasha says, a descendant of Noah who blessed God by one of the appellations is liable to be executed, even according to the opinion of the rabbis. What is the reason? It is because the verse states the convert as well as the homeborn, when he blasphemes the name, he shall be put to death. Leviticus 24:16. From where is it derived that it is only in the case of a convert or a homeborn Jew that we require the condition when he blasphemes the name, meaning he is liable to be executed only if he curses the ineffable name, but a Gentile is liable to be executed even due to the merely cursing an appellation. Rabbi Meir, Haid, Ezra, my Avidle, Ger Ezra Muskila, Abel Goy Visayef, Salka Daita Kamina, Hoyel Israbo, Kamashmalan. Gemara asks, and what does Rabbi Meir do with this part of the verse, the convert as well as the homeborn. What does he derive from it? The Gemara answers, the Meir derives that a convert or homeborn Jew is liable to be executed by stoning for this transgression, but a Gentile is executed by the sword. This execution is necessary, as otherwise it might enter your mind to say that since Gentiles are included in the halakha of this verse, they're included in the halakha of blasphemy. Therefore, the verse teaches that they are not all stoned. The Gemara asks, and what does Rizal Nafka do with this part of the verse? The convert as well as the homeborn, according to the opinion of rabbis. Since Rav Yitzchak Nafka holds that the rabbis do not deem either Jew or a Gentile liable for cursing an appellation of God's name, the Gemara answers he derives that it specifically with regard to a convert and a homeborn Jew that we require the condition that he curse a name of God by another name. But with regard to a Gentile, we do not require that he do that same thing with the name of God in order to make him for him to be liable. The Gemara asks, why do I need an inclusive term anyone who curses God according to the opinions that do not derive from it that it is a Gentile right from it that a Gentile is liable for cursing the appellation of God's name? The Gemara answers, no halakha is derived from it. It is not a superfluous term, as the Torah spoke in the language of people. Since the halachot of the descendants of Noah have been mentioned, a full discussion of the Noachide mitzvah is presented. The sages taught in Braita, the descendants of Noah, all of humanity were commanded to observe 7 mitzvot. The mitzvah establishing courts of judgment and the prohibition against blessing, meaning cursing, right? The name, and the prohibition of idol worship, and the prohibition against forbidden sexual relations, and the prohibition against bloodshed, and the prohibition of robbery, and the prohibition against eating the limb of a live animal. Gamla Omer, Af al Hadam min Achar, Chidka Omer, Af al Hasirus, or Shimon, or Af al Kishuv. Rabbi Yochanan ben Gamla says the descendants right. Chananya ben Gamla says the descendants of Noah are also commanded concerning the prohibition against consuming the blood from a living animal. Rabbi Chideka says that they are also commanded concerning castration, and they are prohibited to castrate any living animal. Rabbi Shimon says they are also commanded concerning the population against engaging in sorcery. Yossi Omer Kol Amar Parashas Kishuv Ben Noach Muzar Love Lo Yimase Mavir Beno Bito Beish Kosem Kesamim Onin Menachesh Mechashev Achover Uchever Veshoy Avidoni Dosh Amesim Ubiglal Toavas Evos Ha'elu Hashem Elohechem Elokechem Orisha Tevinecha Lo Anash Ela Im Kain Hizir. Rabbi Yossi says, with regard to every type of sorcery that is stated in the passage about sorcery, it is prohibited for a descendant of Noah to engage in it. This is derived from the verses, when you come into the land the Lord your God gives to you, you shall not learn to do like the abominations of those nations. They shall not be found among you one who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, a diviner, a soothsayer, an enchanter, a warlock, or a charmer, or one who consults a necromancer and a sorcerer, or directs inquiries to the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord, and because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out from before you. Deuteronomy 18:9-12. Evidently, the Canaanites were punished for these practices, and since God would not have punish them for an action unless he first prohibited it. These practices are clearly prohibited to Gentiles. Rabbi Eliezer Omer al Kalayim. Mutarim b'nei Noach l'boish Kalayim l'zroya Kalayim v'nasurim acha ela b'harbas behema berakavas ha'ilan. The Rabbi Elazar says the descendants of Noah were also commanded concerning the prohibition of diverse kinds. Nevertheless, it is permitted for the descendants of Noah to wear diverse kinds of wool and linen, and so diverse kinds of seeds together, that they prohibited only with regard to breeding diverse species of animals and grafting diverse species of trees. You know, honey, really, how do we know these things? Whoa. Wow. Wait a minute. Did I pass on to the next? I think I went way into the next stuff. Or did I? Oh no, Roman's done. Roman's done. Yitzchak Nafkel even abundant high ger Ezrach my Avid lay Ezrach Emin Shem Avil Goy Lemim Shem. We're asked, what does Rabbi Yitzchak Nafkel do with this part of the verse, to convert as well as a homeborn? According to the opinion of the rabbis, you know what? I think I'm going to have to find out where we stopped, just to make sure, and just tick it on to the next thing.